All right, we have just arrived at the 1076. Picture where he operates. This is huge.
This is our active heading.
So you guys are actively working this now?
Actively right now. Yeah. So, double drum slusher.
Slusher there.
And we'll pull the material down in the cars once we load the top of the chute. And you see, now you didn't get to see in the ballroom, but there's the blocks. So we got to change the direction. We come up here, we go almost 90 degrees back the other way. Then we turn again and we go 90 degrees back up into the heading. And when we do is we slush that out.
That's the block he's talking about.
Yeah, and then we'll pull the material back again and load the top of the chute, change our pulleys and cable positions again, and then pull it down into the chute. And then we got to tram it down in the our nearest dump pocket and get it out of the way.
So you dump the waste rock that way?
Yep. So once I have a loaded car, I'll use the train, 1 ton car.
Huge.
You know the work smarter. Work smarter, not harder, right?
Work smarter, not harder. That's the motto.
Use the train.
So many stopes. All right, so you train it back here.
So due to space constraints, I could put the car on the other end of the train and then run the train in and then run out onto the trestle and right behind you are a dump pocket. However, we don't have the space. This is the end of the line. I have enough room to clear the car, and I don't have enough room to clear the car and the train to then hit my flat feet and bring the car in. So I have to hand push. Yeah, you'll see it. Yeah, it's called slush, load, and repeat. Yeah. And so I have to hand tram it onto the trestle that's downhill so it'll practically roll itself, dump it, push it back, flip it back over, and push it back to the locomotive that I park right here.
Wow.
Only because that's the end of the line.
Yeah, you just don't have enough space.
That's the end of the line. I don't have the space. That's another 12B mucker, but it's all bad ground from there out. So yeah, it's kind of it. If I had more space, I'd put it on the other side of the train, so I could never have to disconnect it from the locomotive.
Right.
You would just go forward, flip the switch, drive it in. So. So it's all about just moving it out of your way. It gets metal detected, and after it's been metal detected, we dump it, and here it stays. So
is this an old stope that you're just filling in, or?
yeah, it's actually an old stope. It goes down to the 1250. So you can get a better look at it over here. You see everything that looks washed and clean?
Yeah.
That's all the new stuff.
Okay, wow.
So,
That's a big stope.
yeah, it goes down quite a ways.
Take you guys a while to fill that up. Wow.
Now, I think there were comments or something as to, even when they were doing it with carbide lamps, there's markings. And they go, what's this?
Yeah.
Okay, that is the start or the end of something. They start here and went this direction. And then at that point you may or may not, if you were to walk down, you'll see another line with another arrow coming back. This was all surveying and metal detecting and ground penetrating radar, and other technologies. And they would come in and they'd map out an area and then plot. And so, but even then, even the old timers, they were like, okay, say we did a particular something on this side, we checked it or whatever, and they mark it. So that's actually the start right here, and with the arrow.
Interesting. A lot of people have asked about that.
Yeah, and like that one, they've actually started, and they went both left and right on this one. So they took their device, they marked it, they map everything, and they go, okay, we went both left, and then we went both right on this.
Wow, that's yeah. A lot of people have asked about that.
Yeah, like that one right above you there too. It looks like a little hieroglyphics. That's actually a survey marker. Some of the older stuff, you'll see it in carbide lamp, and there's a few up in the mine that I found is really neat. You'll see a mark, and then they'll have an identifying. They don't always put it, but there'll be an identifying number. Like we're in the 1076, so there'd be say 1076, and then you'd have an arrow, you know, and there's actually some that point straight down. It'd be like over your head, so you knew what hole this was. And there'd be like one here, and it'd be in carbide lamp, written over the top with a little arrow saying, oh, okay, this is the 1060, whatever. And then, so you see stuff like this actually identifying a specific area in the mine. So, but we've done a lot of surveying and a lot of different technologies, and we're open to it. And somebody's going to invent something that can see right through the stuff and tell us where it's at.
Someday.
Someday. So all those techies down there, they need to come up with something.
It's a matter of time.
All right. So some chutes, because of the angle, you can utilize gravity and just pull the door.
Yeah.
Due to the lack of angle in this one, you're not going to get it to gravity, but we have a slusher. So the slusher bucket's going to do all the work for
Does
you.
the magic, yeah.
And you just stop it before you drag the thing into the car. Yeah. So we're going to head up, and it's probably exactly the way I left it. We probably still have the cables up into our heading.
Cool.
Oh, good. Good example. The blocks are still there. This is great. Okay. So, you see you get your return line and your pull line right in these blocks. Okay. So your high line is the return line that's going to pull the bucket back up in the heading. And see, it goes over, it hits again, goes another 90 degrees. Goes all the way up into the heading. Then you got the return line, which you prefer to have lower to the ground, and it then pull the bucket down. So, here, you want to smell what fresh ground, broken rock, and krill smells like?
This is it, huh?
Go ahead, get a whiff.
Yeah, I go smell it as soon as we got in, yeah.
So we do wet it down after the shot, and that's what we got. There's the garden hose right there, the water hose. So there's the active phase, and we just shot, and then we have to slush it out. You got to get the muck out of the way. And there's the tail pulley at the very end. That'll pull the bucket back up, and then pull the material out. We have minimal amount of actual handwork. So those fin hose right there, that's a fin hoe.
Yeah.
We'll use that to pull the sides clear so we can get it down. You want to get it mucked out. You want to leave some muck on the ground so you still have something for your jack leg to sit on.
Makes sense.
We don't actually have an assembled jack leg, but so yeah. Oh, here's one. Okay. So there's a leg. There's a drill. Here's a leg. And there's a drill. So, okay. Then it would be a matter of chuck your steel in the end. Don't have a shorty. And you have your air and water. So the old timers, when they first started, and they started with steam, they had nothing to keep the dust down coming out of that hole. And
yeah. Silicosis.
Silicosis. So now there's a water needle right down on the end. There's a little needle.
Oh yeah.
And it drives the water right through.
Right to that hollow spot in the drill.
There's a 6-footer. Right in the end of the bit and the end of the steel.
Yeah.
And probably have multiple water discharges. So
Yeah.
when you're actually drilling, you're getting water coming out of the hole, and the water's bringing your tailings out, and your hole will stay clear. So that's a short leg, and then there's long legs, and it all depends on where you're at. Now that we're in kind of getting limited room, we're running the short leg. So we get kind of cranky in here. So we veered a little off to the left because we're after this elusive fluid channel. So this is actually not the hanging wall. This is called an inclusion. So there's a big block of ground that broke off the fault system and fell into that void when it filled with quartz. So this big black rock, that's not hanging wall, that's not the back. That's actually a block that fell into the quartz vein.
Wow.
So there's quartz up over the top of it, and there's quartz underneath. And we're looking right here, this is the actual footwall running along here. See, along the foot here, that's the foot. And it actually dips over here to the left side. And that's this fluid channel. I can show you on the bottom, and it's real pronounced. There's actually almost a little channel. There's this dip. So we're veering off into it because we were too far to the right.
Huh.
And it's all based about every time the ground fractured, it deposited another layer. And every time it faulted, it would open, and another layer would come in, and it would fault again, another layer would come in, and every time the ground faulted, another layer would come in.
Right.
So every one of these is a fracture, is a zone, is opened up. So, but what he was thinking is that there was actually, the fluid would travel up through the bottom of the vein and then pop up out into it. So we're looking for this area on the bottom, and one of our indicators is calcite. And right, oh goodness, come on, I know I got some late calcite in here somewhere. I had seen it. Here's some. A little white, the white layer, right there. And yeah, see here, right here. Here's some calcite. But it's going in a horizontal fracture, not in our vertical fracture. We were kind of hoping that it was in the vertical fractures. So I'll just put that a little something there. There's a VOG behind your head when we were drilling in here, right?
Right there.
Yeah, there's one.
Oh, right there.
Yeah,
Another
there's
one.
There's one.
Mariposa.
Yeah. See, there's a little one there. And there's some crystal structure starting in there. You see it right there. Right here. So,
What is this indicative of?
yeah. that's some, that's an inside miner thing. What happens underground stays underground. But you can show the little mud man. There's a little mud man. That's actually gouge. Okay? You can see. So over 120 million years ago, and somebody goes, "There's no mud and dirt underground," and you go, "Yeah, okay." Then you tell me what that is. Huh? It's almost like clay. There's mud. And look at that. You see that? The crystal pocket. Wow. Typically, when we found this in the black clay, the black and more gray clay, there would be crystals in there. So they like to dig through them, hose them down, and see, well, there's another little pocket right there, that gray clay. And sometimes you squeeze it, and sometimes you can pull a crystal out of it. Huh. You know, it's deposited over 120 million years ago, and where you're standing right now, nobody's ever stood before. We just shot this out 4 feet out here the other day.
That's incredible.
Nobody's been standing except
well, the crew.
Yeah.
Okay, but so I'm in new ground. No man has ever stood here before. So, yeah, he set foot on the moon. I just set foot on the moon. People have described it that way. And you go, I just broke in the new ground that's been here for millions of years, and I'm now standing in the quartz that has just been exposed to us, and we're the first ones to see it.
That's incredible.
And for me, it's the biggest thrill. We can't wait to get back in here. Yeah, you gotta let the smoke clear. Yeah, we let the smoke clear. Okay, but to finally get in here when it's clear and hose everything down, and to go, yeah, look at this. You know, bar down. Of course, we got to bar all the rocks down. Then you get in here and go, man, look at this. And then, of course, what next? Metal detector. We get a metal detector in here and we hit it hard. We want to see if there's anything anywhere at all. And then metal detect all this muck on the ground before we start slushing it out. We don't want to throw anything away inadvertently. So it's just it's really exciting. It really is. And there's nothing like being on a jack leg. I mean, it's just not. You know. So, but this is our active phase. And as soon as we're almost mucked out, you leave, like I was saying, you leave a little bit of muck on the ground to hold your leg, and they'll be back in here maybe Friday or again Tuesday, drilling the next round
Gonna
out.
keep going in this direction?
Yep, we're heading right this way.
Are you trying to stay along the foot?
Yeah, I'm going to show you down here. There's all the survey markers, the blue tape you passed on the way in. Those are all survey markers from a geologist. And, oh, here you go. Well, it's not quite a keeper. No, not so much. Looks like it probably got blown up. So just imagine that. But there's this dip over here, and we're heading into it. And we want to stay in that, and we're supposed to go, well, throw away, I guess. I'm not sure just what we're expecting to find, but we would love to see some gold. Okay.
The smell is really unique.
Yeah, that's prill. Notice, okay, that's a deadhead right there. It just kind of goes up and it looks like the vein pinches off.
Sorry. So that up there is a deadhead?
That's it. That's the end of the heading. It looks like the vein just pinches off, so they stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. So, then you see it kind of opens back up.
Yes.
All right, but you look how high the footwall is right there. Right?
Right.
And right here, it does this little bowl dip. It's ever so subtle. But there's a dip right here. All right?
Yeah.
And you can really see it, kind of right there. And we're trying to run into that. It was just easier for us to start at an angle going that way to get it slushed in than to go straight in up there on that dip. So we knew we were going to intersect it, but now when we're into it, we actually got to get down into that dip and then keep racing on the dip. So, Vog. Look at the crystals in there.
Full of
The
crystals.
mud is fascinating.
So it's fun, I mean, to an extent, until somebody tells you it's work. You ever see those things hanging around, those eye pins? That they were used for all sorts of that. You can see right now we get eye pin. There's another eye pin over there. We got eye pin hanging over there. You got an eye pin right over your head. You drill a hole, stuff an eye pin in it. Before you shoot the face, drill an eye hole up in there so you don't have to drag the drill back up. So right after this, we already had drilled the hole. So after we shot, all we had to go is put our eye pin in and then hook everything up and get it back in there. So after we finish slushing this out, it looks like I can go a little bit more. You see we got a pile here. Then we'll change the blocks to then go from here to there. And we'll stack up the top of the chute. Once the chute's all loaded up, then we'll change it again to pull down the chute and load cars.
Huh. How long does it take?
Just minutes.
That's good.
Yep. Little minutes. So this is the actual 1076 raise. right here. Now, you saw where we were at, and the quartz doesn't look very thick. Well, look to your left rib. Okay, 15 feet plus. Okay, look at, there's the back right there.
Get over here.
Yeah. See, there's the back. Right up there.
Right.
See that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then the foot is, well, there it is. There she is right there. That's the actual bottom. There's the footwall right there.
That's the footwall there,
Yep,
huh?
that's footwall right there. So there's only a couple feet of muck in here.
Footwall. And then up into this section. What did you say the name of this raise was?
This is at the actual 1076 raise.
Okay.
That one, that's a wing. We have another name for it. I don't know what they've named it yet.
Gotcha.
The 1072 is actually further to our south, so I don't know what they were going to call it, the 1077 or something like that.
Makes sense.
So, but they found a lot of gold here,
Yeah.
right here, and a lot of it was towards the hanging wall side, and all this here. See, it's been really broken up. I guess the term's brushiated, right? Brusha. It's been ground up, and they found a lot of the gold. I metal detected some stuff right over your head, and it was almost at the back.
Huh.
So why we're on the footwall? $1 million question. Why are we on the footwall? Why shouldn't we go on the back? Anybody familiar with Sierra Blaster?
Yes.
Aha, good. You see all this rock?
Yeah, is that all Sierra Blaster?
And an auto stem.
Wow.
See their hole? That's an auto stem hole right there.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
What's the Sierra Blaster?
Sierra Blaster's a micro blaster. Tiny little thing, busting boulders. So they were here last week playing with us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That's what all this quartz is down on the floor. We had Sierra Blaster blowing rocks up, and we had auto stem loading and blowing holes up for us, and we didn't get much work done because we had representatives from 2 different companies here.
That's where we just were.
Trying to demo their
up there.
wares. And the Sierra Blaster would have its place trying to get the high grade out. The auto stem, it has its place. It's probably too aggressive for us, but we're open. You know. Heck, I got out of work for a day, right? The whole crew did.
Blow stuff up.
Yeah, we got to blow stuff up. So it was great.
Okay, we are back at the 1000 tightener. Came in from that way, and showed you guys looking down there. That's where that trestle was, and we have just come from exploring there. Now we are headed upstairs again. We're going up that way. So we just came up from down there and hit the 900 level, and you see drift runs off that way. So it just ran into a bunch of stopes, and apparently oh, that's where we're going. You can see there's also a drift running off over here, and that also just runs back to a bunch of stopes. So we are going to continue our journey up the stairs. At a long set of stairs. Okay, we are on the 800 tightener, which is the same level that we came in on, and that right there is one of the original skips.
1950s, probably.
1950s.
Because they stopped running. They were only running the utility hoist in the 50 after the hoist works caught on fire.
Oh, that's not good.
Well, it must have been interesting because the hoisting works were underground. Yeah, they wasn't there for
Down
that.
the 800.
That's the end of the 800 down there.
Okay, how far much farther does it end? Just a little ways?
So, no, probably about 400 feet.
Okay. 400
So
feet.
this goes up, or did go up to the 250 level?
So,
Hold on.
right here.
Sorry, am I showing you?
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. So we're at the top of the tightener. And so what it does is it goes down and it stops right there. That's it.
Gotcha.
And you're like, well, what? Why didn't they continue? Well, you've got the 1000 and you got the 6 above it. So, and the vein right there actually kind of peters out, but you've seen the veins in here.
Yeah.
There ain't such thing as petering out.
Yeah.
So what they did is instead of going out the 6, they worked it off. I mean, the 8, they worked it on the 6 instead of the 8.
Gotcha.
The 8 dead ends, so 286 feet. So I was right, I said a couple hundred feet, right?
Yeah.
Like about 500, so if you do 2 of those, there it is.
Gotcha. All right.
This is just another utility skip like the 49, just right there. We raise and lower all of our supplies up and down that.
Huh.
But that's on the original rails.
Pretty cool.
Wow,
I
that's the
think
skip he's talking
I
about?
may be wrong, but they rehabbed this section from the 8 to the 1000 in 1999.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, so this looked like that,
Oh, wow.
and they cleared it all up, cleaned it, and yeah.
So that good stuff.
Looks like an easier shaft to work with.
Apparently
than the
used
last
to,
one where it wins
Be quite a mess like that.
better angle.
Boy, Nick, you got the train. Why didn't you bring the train down here for us, huh?
And in case you missed it, he was saying that they use this as a utility skip. Getting tools and equipment and such down there. And he also said those were the original rails. That pump we saw at the 1800 when we're looking down from the 1700, this is it. It is run all the way up to the 800 level that we're on now. And you can see it running out and drain the mine ahead of us that way. It's taken a long journey. Impressive. So we're now at the compromise, the famous compromise.
Yeah, it's called the compromise. We had 2 opposing companies on the same vein system, got into a legal fight, a legal battle over a block of ground. Where were they? Where did draw that line in the ground? So they drew an imaginary line through the mine.
And this is it.
And they made a compromise. And there was an untouched block of ground between the 2 mines. So once the 16-to-1 company basically owns everything on the block now, we decided we're going to mine the compromise. We're going to mine that block of ground.
And this is it.
And this is it. So you goes about 100 feet in, and then they were slushing the material down and loading the cars. So the actual block of ground is up, and then what they did is they raised and winged off left and right and everywhere. And as I told you, it was pretty well a bust. Surprise. Yeah.
So we came in from the 800 level back there to check out the 16-to-1 shaft that we have seen intermittently today. As you see, not going to be hauling many loads up and out of this one.
Flat car right there.
Flat car?
Yeah, right in front of you.
Oh, I missed that. I didn't see the wheels.
Okay, see how it goes down underneath?
Squeeze by.
You can still see the track.
Oh yeah, just ends in that wall right there, doesn't it?
We're gonna walk right over it when we walk out the 800.
Oh wow.
But this is how this whole shaft is. So we have section open, then cave in. Section open, cave in. So it was easier to punch in the 800 drift
Then
than
deal
it
with
was
this, yeah.
to do any rehab. So this is actually a water containment dam here. We don't want the water going further into the mine than it has to. This
Platform
one we
up there.
actually divert the water coming down the shaft onto the 800 and out the drain tunnel. Otherwise, it's going to go all the way down and end up in the bottom of the mine, and you'll be pumping it out down there below the 17.